Do you dream of exploring the enchanted land of Morocco? Discover the magic with Destination Morocco, the ultimate travel experience for those seeking luxury and adventure. We specialize in crafting bespoke itineraries tailored to your unique tastes and desires. If you are a discerning traveler who values an immersive, curated adventure, then visit destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, morocco.com. And let us bring your dream Moroccan vacation to life. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Destination Morocco podcast. And in today's episode, we have Ted, the producer. He's joining us. Welcome back, Ted.
Hey.
And basically, we're gonna talk about us, about our story, and how everything started. So, Ted, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
And we're super excited to have you again with us.
Yeah, always nice to be
Thank
here.
you.
I was thinking not too long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, that we kind of talked a bit about your story. It's kind of unraveled, over the course of the last year and a half or so of doing this show, but maybe it'd be good to kind of get everything in one place. People are wondering, well, exactly who you are and how you ended up where you are. Of course, you're from Morocco, but now you live in Houston. And how did that happen? And what is Destination Morocco and the company, and why you started the whole thing, and just getting into a bit of kind of an all-in-one place where people can learn about who you are and what you guys do, because it's kind of sprinkled throughout all the episodes, right? But it's nice to have a bit of a summary here. So that's what we thought we'd focus on today and get to know you a bit better. Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Ted.
Yeah.
Basically, I was born and raised in Morocco. My ancestors hail from a small village in the outskirts of Ouarzazate called Tilwet. I'm sure you have heard of it, by now, because we talked about it a few times in the past few episodes. And I was born and raised in Marrakech. I moved to the US in 95 and I came to Houston, and that's the only place that I have lived. Obviously, I travel from place to place, but that's my home now.
How did you end up in Houston?
Well, it's a really good question. Basically, it's a funny story. One of our neighbors, Kareem, I just went to say goodbye to him. He moved to the US and he was studying in the US, and I just say, hey, he's going back, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna see him, so I just want to say goodbye and have a safe trip. Then he said, hey, I can send you the paperwork and you can come to the US. And I was like, that's a long shot. It's definitely not going to happen. But, a few weeks go by, then he talked to his family and his mom said, hey, Kareem called and said, hey, if you want to proceed with the paperwork, we can help. And I said, okay, sure. So, and the process really took me, I would say, probably definitely less than a year, but I had to learn English.
Yeah.
I had to pass a test, which is the TOEFL test of English as a foreign language. And I studied English on my own. And I scored really good in the test, plus other challenges that I faced, but his family was very gracious and extremely helpful. So that's how I was able to come to the US. Then I stayed with him for a couple months. Then I moved on my own in 1995.
So you spoke a bit of English then before you came? What was it like growing up?
At that time, we learned English in high school. So, and for me, the level of English was not really that good. But then knowing, that I have to come to the US and I have to pass the test, basically what I did is we have an American language center in Marrakech, and I had membership, to the library, which cost $10 a year. And that's how I started learning English on my own. And the gentleman at the library was super nice to me. And he was like, he asked me questions. Can you afford these classes? Obviously, they're expensive. Can you do this? And I said, no. This is my goal. I want to get to the US. I want to get that TOEFL, that test, and I need to score above 500, because anything below 400, it's still going to be challenging for you. So he did something for me that I'll never forget. And he was like, hey, I'm going to help you, but don't say nothing to anyone.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, of course. He said, do you have $10? And I said, I don't have it today, but I'll have it tomorrow. He said, buy the membership to the library and I'll take care of everything else for you. So the next day, I actually borrowed $10 from my neighbor. I came back. I gave him $10. I got the membership, and he started giving me the classes. The classes that they teach us in 3 months, I studied them in 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So Then I go there every day. Nighttime. Then on Saturday for me, that this is how also what helped me learn English is music.
Hmm.
I used to get the lyrics, whether it's Phil Collins,
Yeah.
MJ, Gloria Stefan,
Hmm.
Vanessa Williams,
Yeah.
and I look at the songs with the lyrics, and that's how I start, recognizing what they sing about and the
Hmm.
words and everything else. And then everything I studied, I had a dictionary with me, so I always look at if I need to look at one word, then I end up learning 10 words. Then
Hmm.
the owner and the general manager of the American Language Center is an American,
Hmm.
and he did something amazing. I mean, he was and still does. um, we had Wednesday, we call it movie day. So on Wednesday, they'll have a movie for us. Then we watch it, and it's in English. There's no translation, nothing.
Hmm.
And he said something to us, when we got to watch the movie, that really changed me in a way. And he was like, the best way to watch a movie is with a pen and a piece of paper. And I
Huh.
did not understand why. And it's like, you do it. The reason is because when you hear a word that you do not understand, write it down,
Yeah.
keep watching the movie. At the end of the movie, go and look for that word. So, and I remember, for me, the first movie we watched at the American Language Center was The Firm. And the conversation between Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson
Right.
and Demi Moore, and he was like, you can't handle the truth, guilty and like guilty. And I was like, I don't know what guilty is. So I wrote guilty
Hmm.
on my piece of paper. Then plus a few other words. Then I learned maybe 30 words that day.
Yeah.
Then the next week, the same thing. I remember we watched Philadelphia. We watched
Hmm.
Malcolm X. Some of those movies, I read down a list of things that I did not understand, which helped me tremendously. So that was a major influence on me learning English. And for me to pass the test, it was very challenging. Any teacher that I asked him to help, they just say, hey, you're not going to make it. It's not enough time. Your level is beginner, and you need to be professional
Hmm.
to register for the TOEFL, for the test. So I really did not listen to any of them.
Hmm.
So I went ahead and I registered for the test, but I studied, for about 40 days, about 15 hours a day.
Oh wow.
And thank God I made it. So when I learned English, when I came to the US, yes, I can understand quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
But then there was a delay when somebody speaks to me. It takes me about 3 to 4 seconds
Hmm.
to understand the reply back. So, but it took me about, I would say, about 6 months to just get the hang of it. Yeah,
Okay. How old were you at the time?
22.
Oh wow. Were you
Yeah.
with Khadija, with your wife?
No, no. Me and Khadija, we met a lot later. Yeah,
Oh really? Okay.
yeah.
Huh. So then, what did you do once you kind of got yourself established in Houston? What did you do for work?
Well, for work, basically, I worked in the hospitality industry for quite a bit. When I first came in here, I worked as a busboy at a Mexican restaurant. From restaurant to restaurant. Then from busboy you go up to become a waiter. Then I believe in '98 I worked at the Westin Hotel. So I worked quite a bit in hotels,
Hmm.
Westin Hotel, Marriott, um, few of them actually, and that's how I learned quite a bit of the hospitality, teamwork, and stuff like that, responsibilities. Yeah, and then I sold some cars. I may not look like a car used a used car salesman, but they were new cars, by the way.
Yeah.
So I went through a lot of training. I'm very grateful for their investment. So in each job that I had held, I learned something.
Hmm.
Which is very valuable, and they all stayed with me, and that's what really shaped who I am today.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, let's bring it around to Destination Morocco itself. When did you start that company, and what was the motivation for doing so?
Oh, that's a good question. We started the company back in 2016. We are immigrants. Me and Khadija would travel back and forth to Morocco. I would say on average about 2.5 years or so.
Hmm.
Um, and as we get old, the travel becomes a little bit more challenging. And then we had Imran was born in 2015. That really, really changed a lot. And we want him to be exposed to Morocco, to the culture, and know where he's from. So he was really the biggest influence and inspiration behind creating Destination Morocco, because we want to share that love that we have for Morocco for all the audience, and we're very grateful. But then Imran, I mean, he's hooked on Morocco. He loves Morocco. He speaks the language,
Yeah.
I would say fluently, probably 90%. He has an accent, and it's funny sometimes, but yeah.
Well, that's great. That's super important. I mean, do you feel still connected to family back in Morocco? Do people able to come and visit you? And do you still have some of
Yeah,
those
of
links?
course.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, family and friends are really, really important. The last trip we took, obviously, we did not get to spend a lot of time with them because we were touring,
Mm.
but family is very important. Friends are very important. And also, it helps you, just go back to a lot of memories, your roots. It's really, really important to know who you are and where you come from.
Yeah. Well, when you were setting up the tour company, did you have something in mind to make it a little different, to stand out? Like, what was your kind of approach to how this would actually operate?
A lot of people have, or friends have, say, hey, tourism, be involved in tourism. And I've seen tourism company, even when back in Tliwat, in our village,
Mm.
we have a Thursday market or the souk. And when we go, we see a lot of 4x4s, we see mini buses, large buses. So there's a lot of tourists go back and forth in that area. It's really, really popular. But knowing how to do it is the challenge. So um, I had an idea, but then when I met Sam, it really changed
Mm.
because the hospitality industry in Morocco is not regulated for the most part.
Mm.
So, and for example, just prices they fluctuate from few dollars to few thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
and it's up to you and how much risk you want to take and gamble.
Mm.
So when we started, Sam is more experienced than I am, and I said, okay, let's analyze the business, uh, as a general, and what are the pain points
Mm-hmm.
that the customer will feel. The customer, we need to prevent those. So we start, okay, throughout the experience, you do a pickup from the airport, and that's how it starts. Who
Yeah.
does the pickup? You have the current driver. Sometimes you have a tour leader. Sometimes you have a national guide. Sometimes you have
Mm.
nobody, just the current driver. So when you go from here, then you go to the hotel. How can you make that experience different?
Mm.
What are the challenges that they can run into between the airport and the hotel or the Riyadh?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the Riyadh or the hotel, what are the issues that they can have checking in, checking out?
Sure.
Because sometimes this is what happens, and I know what happens with everybody, not just us. You go to a Riyadh or a hotel, and somebody will approach you. Oh, we can sell you a tour, 3-day desert tour for 250.
Mm.
And you tell them, oh, no, 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 I'm good, thank you. I already have my tour. Oh, okay, that's amazing. Wow, that's really, really good. Then they'll tell you, how much did you pay for it? Obviously, you're not gonna tell them, but then they'll say, well, make sure you didn't pay over $200 for it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when we come to you and pick you up, and you look at us and it's like, wow, we just took a huge advantage of you. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
We had those cases
Mm.
because a lot of the guests, they don't know, they don't understand. You've been to Marrakech, you've been to the square of Jamal Fna, and you can see those. They're
Yeah.
like in
I remember that.
whiteboards on the
Yeah.
streets.
Yeah.
But those, it's a mess. I don't even want that needs its own episode. I promise
Yeah,
you.
that's a good point. Because
So
that's it. It's
yeah,
unregulated. That's the perfect example.
yes,
There's
yeah,
really very
yeah.
little, if any, regulation of those prices and who people are allowed to talk to.
Exactly. Then you talk into the terms of the insurance. Do they have insurance? Do they not have insurance? Then, do you have your own CPA? Everything is controlled. Everything is, trackable, not trackable, or is it just cash?
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of things that are just done in cash and nothing is traceable. So it's for the guest. There's a lot of things they don't know. What they see is what they see, but what's underneath is it's really, really complex.
Mm-hmm.
So then I asked Sam and said, hey, we can do this in two different ways. We can be the Walmart of things, or we can be the Mercedes of things. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, there's a Walmart, which is obviously the biggest retail store, probably globally, but in the US.
Yeah.
And I said, we can do just cheap tours, and we can sell a ton of them,
Mm.
and we'll make a little bit of money here and there, but the growth eventually is going to be good, big.
Yeah.
Or we can do what Mercedes does. Everybody knows Mercedes, the quality, it's premium, it's luxury, it's this and that. And we sell less tours,
But
but we
better
don't have
quality.
to, better quality for sure, but we don't have to mark it up the way Mercedes does.
Hmm.
It's still affordable.
Yeah.
but the overall experience is better than anybody else. Pound versus pound, whatever you want, that comparison, any
Hmm.
comparison you want to make, us versus somebody else, we're 100% better than them. Now we're talking about the combination of price and experience. The experience hands down better than anyone,
Mm.
and I believe it and I feel it.
Yeah.
And people who have traveled with us, they know it and they feel it because we do it a little different.
Mm.
So then when we decided, okay, we're gonna be the Mercedes of things, meaning running the business, the tour company as a Mercedes, good quality, premium luxury service, going above and beyond the Call of Duty. So that's basically how we set up the company first. Then it came to, okay, how are we gonna price it?
Mm.
So at first we had an issue. The price is very important to price it. You don't want to do it too low, then you'll be out of business in no time. And then you don't want to price it too high, then nobody will book with you. So it was a delicate process for us to find um, the right, if you would, markup or percentage or addition to what the wholesale that we get the tours. So we finally got it, and it's been amazing since then.
Mm.
Yeah.
So from then, how do you approach like customizing experiences for your clients? Because one of the big things we talk about a lot in episodes is how it is so personalized, and people can really choose and build the itinerary they want. They don't just go where they're told to go. They can choose where they want to go.
Everything we do is 100% customizable. So now we're talking on the side of private tours.
Yeah.
So let's say you have six people that are traveling. They can do six different things, but they are still traveling together. When we build the itinerary, we build it on their terms. It takes us a few days to build it. We cannot do it overnight, obviously. We can in certain emergencies because the time difference between the US and Morocco, is 6 hours now.
Mm.
But there's emergencies that we can do that. But the average is 3 to 4 days that it takes us. And it takes us that because we have to make sure we have the current driver ready for you, the local
Yeah.
guides, the tour leader, accommodations availability for each city, depending you go in the north side or the south side of Morocco, activities that you want to do. Sometimes, you want to have a massage, but sometimes at certain times they're busy, they don't have any availability at that time. So it's
Mm.
quite a bit of things to put together.
Yeah.
And that's when we come back and say, hey, this is the itinerary. We presented it to the client, and it takes a little bit of time to make the changes and modifications. Then when the itinerary becomes finalized, it becomes a proposal, and that's when we start taking the payment and so
Yeah.
forth.
I remember that with us because you did initial itinerary. It was a 10-day tour. And I mean, for the most part, of course, it was great. But I said, is a chance for us to maybe spend a night in the desert in Agafay. We'd be in
Yes.
Marrakech.
Yeah.
You said, sure. Well, we'll obviously look into it, see what we can find. And you guys came back a couple of days later and added that option. So yeah, it's a bit of that back and forth, but you get to the places you
Yeah.
want to get to.
Absolutely, Ted. Yeah.
Hmm. So can you share some memorable travel experiences, maybe from clients, just any stories that come to mind? Because think back, of course, is how he started this whole thing. Imagine, going back to 2016, 15, even thinking about maybe we'll start this tour company and kind of see what
Yeah.
happens. Now reflect on it. Like, what has been some of the experiences, right? The stories, and just what's it feel like to have done this, for the past
You
8 years?
know, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor for me and my team, and it's very humbling.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can describe it in words. Because when I see those comments and I get them, and sometimes I see the reviews, it warms my heart. I mean, I feel that we have made a difference in someone's life, just the same way a lot of people make a difference in our lives when we need it the most. And I remember everybody. When they go to Morocco, some say, "Hey, my life has changed. I'm a better
Mm.
person because of it." Then some say, we did not expect Morocco to be this hospitable. We did not expect the people to be this hospitable or generous.
Yeah.
So it's from one person to one person. They definitely come with something else that it's tremendously positive for Morocco. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful country to enjoy, and we really change your lives. That's what we do,
It's a
and
type of
that's
place that
yeah,
can do that. It's a distinct destination just by nature of what it is. It's in Africa.
yeah,
It's this mix of different cultures and backgrounds. Whether it's the geography, you've got everything from mountains to desert to beaches.
yeah,
Fascinating cities, history, the culture, the food. Like
yeah,
every country has this thing, but Morocco really is quite distinct, and
yeah.
people really capture that once they go.
You can be in Fez for 2 months and still
Yeah.
not see everything in Fez. You can be in Marrakesh the same 2 3 months and still not see everything there is to see in Marrakesh. But we try to package things and build itineraries for people so they can see the most out of each city, whether they are staying there for 1 day or 2 days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Because typically you get a local guide. So you're in a
yes,
place like Fez or Marrakesh. We had guides, local guides, just for a couple hours in like Meknes,
yes,
Volubilis, Rabat too. Yeah.
yeah,
So that's a fairly standard thing. You'll get the local guide, and they'll give you that nice introduction. And sometimes it's like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. In Fez, it was pretty much the whole day because there's so much to
yeah,
see.
yeah.
But yeah, so you'll get that, and then you also probably have some time to explore a bit on your own or add some of those other activities too.
Yes, I do agree. Yeah. And having some time on your own is really, really important.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I did not realize this until we toured, last summer, because we had full days of activities, of,
Mm.
shooting episodes and recording and documenting. Um, it's really important for us when we build an itinerary to keep in consideration, hey, don't put the whole day, don't fill up the whole day.
Yeah.
Definitely the first half, then a little bit in the afternoon is okay, but leave room for people if they want to do something on their own, they want to relax, they want to
Yeah.
explore more. So that was a really good takeaway for me
Mm.
when we did our tour back in June and through August. Yeah.
Yeah, it was neat because that put then you guys in the shoes of your clients, right? That to
Yes,
be able to
yes,
experience it, learn it, see it from their
absolutely.
perspective, add
Oh,
that to
100%.
then how you build the itineraries. Yeah.
Yes.
That reminds me too. I was thinking like how Morocco has changed. It seems like tourism to Morocco is changing very fast over the last even just a few months. And it's kind of those, you get those cultural moments. The World Cup was a big deal.
Ah,
And now, of course, there'll be another World Cup, people talking about that. You see it in movies, was John Wick, the movies
yes,
where
yeah,
things are actually set in Morocco. Of course, we know a lot
yes,
of movies are filmed there, but it just gets into the cultural zeitgeist, the cultural thing where people talk about Morocco. And so, from your
yes.
perspective, how has like the landscape of Moroccan tourism evolved over the years since you guys have started doing this?
Just to give you an idea, the US is a little bit behind because of the location. Europe, they know Morocco. They're very familiar with Morocco.
I see. Yeah.
They know the history. Some of them probably they know Morocco better than I do.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. So when it comes to the US, it started when Morocco played in a World Cup, the last World Cup, and they went all the way to the semifinals. So that really, really puts us. It did put us in the map.
Hmm.
So a lot of people start asking questions. Morocco, where is Morocco? And again, when you start doing your research, you become really, really fascinated with the country, and that's how we got actually few bookings because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it was the best, the best marketing campaign or advertisement for free for the
Mm.
country. So then after that came the Women's Soccer World Cup as well. They did really, really, really good. So those two major
Yeah.
events they played a huge role. Now for 2025, Morocco will host one of the major, the African Cup. In 2029, the Arab Cup. And then in 2030, we'll host the World Cup, joining Spain and Portugal.
Hmm.
So all those are really, really positive things for Morocco to happen. Now, Morocco, since it opened back, from the pandemic, it has not slowed down. We used to have a slow season,
Mm.
July and August. Obviously, it's a slow season, but everything else you'll have a little bit of patch, busy, slow. But now everything is consistently busy, and
Wow.
it did not slow down yet. So all those things have helped Morocco develop in terms and change in terms of tourism and hospitality, and also it made Morocco in a way kind of, you have to catch up to Europe, you have to catch up to the West, you have to catch up, in terms of accommodation, in terms of food, in terms
Mm.
of just handling the business and doing the business. So that's why when you look at Morocco now versus maybe 5 years ago or pre-COVID, maybe 30% of the places accepted credit card payments. But now it's about 80-90% of the places they accept credit card payments. So just one of those changes. Then in terms of customer service, it's definitely better. It has changed. There's still room to improve, but it's definitely better. Then when you look at your prices, when we compare the prices today than pre-COVID, they has gone up an average of 30%.
Oh yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah, and you have to keep that in consideration as well. So the tourism industry in Morocco is doing really good, and the plans that the country is planning for His Majesty the King, the tourism board, they're doing an excellent job. They're doing an
Hmm.
amazing job to set up Morocco as one of the trends and leaders in the tourism industry in Africa. And just
When just think about hospitality, do you think there ever be a time when, with the scams, right, for lack of a
yes,
better word, but the way that people kind of behave and approach, and the thing you were talking about when people are trying to check into the Riyadh and someone's trying to get them on a different tour, like, do you see that maybe over time it's going to take time, but there's a point when the tourism industry kind of evolves past that, so that sure it's probably be more regulated, but just the attitudes start to change?
I don't think so. Um, unfortunately, I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
the it will become regulated at some point slowly. Um, but it's those scams, they will always exist.
Mm.
We have to do another episode about scams, but also we're gonna have another episode about tipping. But in tipping, we're gonna talk about shopping, and shopping is one of the most dangerous
Mm.
aspects of the experience for any guest. That's one of the worst habits in Morocco, is the shopping experience.
Mm.
We have seen this with our guests time and again, not just one, not just two. And it doesn't matter how many times you talk to the tour leader or the local guide, um, they will always want to take them that route. Even though,
Yeah, yeah.
we coach them and say, hey, these guests, they have already bought whatever they needed. They don't need to be shown anywhere else. Um, but that's something um, we cannot overcome it. To be honest with you, we cannot overcome it. But
Mm.
the best that we can do is communicate to the guest and say, hey, if we talk to them, we let them know that not to take you shopping because
Mm.
they get commission, they
Yeah.
make money, and just say, hey, this is how you overcome that objection. Just in case if somebody offered you, let's go shopping, let's do this, or yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why you guys are so important, and the role you play is to prepare your guests and
yes,
to keep them safe.
yeah,
And that includes telling them where they shouldn't go, what they shouldn't do, and they may not. They may get that information from somewhere else, but the key is to get it from someone they trust. And when you
yes,
take one of your tours, the people will talk to you. They'll get to know you and Sam, and they'll certainly
yeah,
know their tour director, their tour leader, and they do build that trust because you guys are people that you are looking out for the best interests.
yeah,
You're not just trying to steer them somewhere where you'll get a cut, right? You guys aren't interested in
absolutely.
that.
No,
Yeah,
because it happened to us many times,
yeah.
and there have been problems. And I'll give you an example. Um, a guest travels with their family. They have an amazing tour, in amazing experience in Morocco. Then they go back to the US, as an example. Then 3 months later, I get a text or I get a call. Hey, I ordered the rug and I ordered this and I ordered 20 other things. None of them
Mm,
have arrived.
mm,
And I said, you know what? I do apologize. I'm not aware that you have bought anything. But to the guest, we are responsible because they went on our tour. They booked with us.
mm-hmm,
So now we have to investigate and see what's going on, what happened. Then we reach out to whoever did that tour, whether a local guide or a tour leader, and then we reach out to the shop.
mm,
And this is when it gets really, really, really not good, because in one incident we had a family that they bought stuff, and it was supposed to be shipped to them, but it was never shipped.
yeah.
So
What
it's
did you
just
do?
we offered to take care of it. We actually wanted to get the authorities involved, but the client said no, there's no need.
Mm,
And I offered to pay for the shipping, but then he said no. But luckily, one of the family members went back to Marrakech, and they had a conference, and they
okay.
just they took the at that time there was carpets, rugs.
Mm-hmm,
So rugs are, there's scams everywhere, because they can make a year's worth of income in one shopping experience.
wow.
And when I tell that to the guests, they're surprised. It's like, oh, I don't think so. And say, yeah, that's that it is, it happens.
Mm,
It happens. So that's why they want to take that chance. Hey, I'm just gonna through this, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and if it sticks, it sticks, and they buy stuff and I get paid. If it doesn't, hey, no, no, no harm, no foul.
mm-hmm,
So and that's why we have to communicate to the guests.
yeah.
Sometimes even this is just even when you buy stuff. We had an incident with a couple that just visited Morocco, um, and then they were at a restaurant, they were eating, and they have that stuff that they bought from fast, and the waitress came and said, hey, you got that stuff, and said, yeah, yeah, and they were very happy with their purchase. And then she was like, oh, all of it is fake. I mean, what kind of business do you have to talk to, to the guest about their purchase? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, and they're worried, and they, start texting us on the group. And, Fes is one of the best places to get ceramics,
Mm.
tagine and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely amazing quality in Morocco. Certain tagines are for cooking, certain tagines are just
Oh,
for
yeah.
presentation.
Mm.
And I said, hey, when the lid of that tagine, when you lift it up, if it has a small hole on the top, that's for breathing, and then that tagine is for cooking.
Mm.
Um, and if it doesn't, that tagine is just for presentation, which means you cook the meal somewhere and then you put it in tagine, and that you present it,
Okay.
to yourself,
Sure.
family, or in your household. So, and then she was like, you know what? I see that it has a little open. Then I said, it's for cooking. That it's the real thing. It's not fake.
Mm-hmm.
But why would you put somebody through that? It
Yeah.
just those things. It's really unfortunate, but I'm glad they have communicated to us, and I'm glad that they felt really good about their purchase.
That's good.
So
And that's the
yeah,
whole thing, because then they're sitting there like they don't really know what to believe. They thought they
yes,
made the right decision and all that. Who are they going to ask? How are
I
they going to
know.
get it verified? They're not going to
Yeah,
ask someone else down the street. They'll give them some other scam. They want to ask
exactly.
someone that they're going to trust, that they know. They know you guys up
Yeah,
to this
yeah,
point, right? At that tour.
yes,
So it just gives the peace of mind when you're traveling in a place that's so new, that's so with a different culture, and these. Morocco's not unique. There's lots of countries that have their thing too, but
yeah,
you got to be watch out for it. Now, I'm realizing that we're talking about all this stuff. It's a little kind of scary or maybe intimidating, but not to say that it's constantly like this. Of course, in Morocco, most of it is a wonderful time. So, what advice would you offer to someone considering a trip to Morocco for the first time? Like, what kind of mindset should they have?
okay. This is a really really good question, and I've run into this many times. And Morocco, it's not Paris, it's not Italy,
Right?
it's Morocco. It's a bucket list destination. You want to do this
Mm.
once for your in your lifetime, and do it right. If you're in your 50s and your 60s, for example, and this is probably the last international trip you're going to take to Africa, for example,
Mm-hmm.
don't take a chance and book it on your own. Book it with a company. It doesn't have to be us,
Mm.
because again, it's going back to that experience. If you didn't get the right experience, then it's going to be, um, it's an opportunity missed,
Yeah.
missed opportunity. So, and I've seen this many times. Some people, they come back and say, hey, we went to Morocco, we really really had a good time, but this is what happened, and we got scammed here, they took advantage here, and but all that kind of stuff. And some people, they're just embarrassed to
Mm.
mention those things or share them with you, because we know a lot of things that the clients don't know. I mean,
Sure.
it's
Well, that's it. It comes from years of experience now doing this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I have a different experience than Sam, you
Mm.
know because I'm here and I travel back and forth. So I explain to them what the West want, what the clients expect, and how customer service is, how the experience is,
Mm-hmm.
and things that we do that somebody else may not do, may not even think about.
Can you talk a little bit about how Sam got involved? How did you meet him? How long have you known him? I don't know that
I
story.
Okay. First of all, it's kind of funny. Sam, he has a funny side, but then he has a very serious side. And when we do business, he's always serious. Then sometimes he'll be, him and I just talking like an hour and a half on the phone, talking, and then suddenly I interrupt and say, hey, I miss you, man. And he just, I throw him off and just like, what did you say? I say, hey, I love you, man. It just I kind of mess with him
Yeah.
that way. Now it's different, so he's used to me just playing with him that way. Actually, I met Sam, I went to Morocco in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and I met him through a friend. Um,
Okay.
and Sam he's a web developer. That's what he does. He's builds websites and stuff like that. So when we met, I realized that Sam, he has to be part of the company. He has to be part of the company. He's too important
Mm.
not to be involved in the company. So I was very grateful, very fortunate to this day. I mean, the things that he brings to the table are just tremendous in so many different ways. I mean,
Was he interested in tourism then? Before that,
he worked in tourism
he
industry.
did.
He worked,
Okay.
yeah, for over a decade, and he got tired of it, and he started doing website and web development.
I see.
And then when we got together, that's how I realized he has a lot of valuable experience, valuable knowledge
Yeah.
that I lack. So it was a good combination.
Yeah.
My knowledge in a way, his knowledge in a way. Then our experiences, they're different. One in Morocco, one in the US. So it gives us, a different way of looking at things. Sometimes he sees things one way, then I say, well, let's look at it another way and see what the outcome is going to be, what the results are going to be, which is good.
Yeah, especially when it comes to that hospitality and expectations kind of thing that you
Yes.
understand now of being in the United States for so long.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell this to myself. Once you get into that plane flying anywhere else, say goodbye to hospitality, to customer service. Don't expect it. But if it happens, it's a plus. But that's how I prepare myself. Anywhere I go, and so. But when you travel, you can't really be serious. You just go with the flow and just have fun.
Nice. Well, this is fun. I wanted to do this for a while and to
Thank
learn
you.
a bit more about you and you guys and your company and how we got to where we're at here. It really is quite the story,
Thank
to
you.
think there you were growing up in Marrakech and you've ended up in Houston,
I know.
Texas,
I
and
know.
running a tour company. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it is. It's neat and weird, but it's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, and lots more to come. We've got some videos lined up, a whole bunch of video production, and the other thing is the live question and answer. We need to plug that
Yes.
some more because the second Wednesday of
Yes.
every month, if anyone wants to join us, you'll find the link on the website, destinationsmorocco.com. And it's a neat way to interact with people that way every month.
Yes, we're gonna use StreamYard and hopefully we can stream it on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn at the same time, because we look for ways to change, to enhance whatever we're doing. And when we talked earlier, how we are different than everybody else. We are different because we truly care about the guests. The guests are not a reservation number to us. They are not a confirmation number to us. When you go with us, there are a few things that we do that they are not in the itinerary, and we do it on purpose, but we don't talk about them afterwards, because we want you to experience that, the culture. At the end of the day, we are Berbers, and we love our culture, we love our people, and we want to showcase, hey, even if you don't get to go to the mountains, you don't get to spend some time with the Berbers, you are in between the Berbers. We all Berbers, so it's and that's what makes us different.
We'll be with you again soon. Wednesday, November 8th is our next live Q&A. Sam will be there. I should be there. And Azdean should be joining us from London, which is exciting too.
Yes, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. I remember I did the episode last one, in Germany, going back to Morocco. So this is going to be kind of fun. So
neat.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
So we'll see everybody
Perfect.
there. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. You have traveled the world, but Morocco's allure beckons you. Destination Morocco is here to create the perfect once-in-a-lifetime Moroccan journey, tailored exclusively to your desires. Let us craft an itinerary that unlocks the secrets of this mesmerizing land just for you. For a luxurious, bespoke Moroccan adventure of a lifetime, visit destinationsmorocco.com. That's destinations with an S, morocco.com. And let us turn your dreams into reality. Your amazing Moroccan experience awaits.